Hello and welcome to Pearl Magazine. Japan is one of the most popular destinations among Hong Kong travelers. Japanese restaurants and retail chains are everywhere in Hong Kong, and in recent years, their numbers have been growing. How did this cultural and commercial phenomena become such a huge influence in our lives? Gabby Xu finds out.
最期待去北海道食隻章蜜瓜，一年都去10幾次以前。
They said I go back to my second country.
Japan is a place which we were fond of since we were a kid.
It's a religion. If you don't go, you feel incomplete.
I think it has a lot to do with self-identity of Hong Kong people.
Kawaii.
今日夜6時半、何人様？あ、5人様。じゃあ今日夜で6時半で5人様で。はい、お待ちます。あります。はい、失礼します。
At that time, on televisions at home, we saw some information about Japan, like the bullet train traveling 300 kilometers an hour. I really wanted to go there to see if Japan is like what I saw.
In 1990, Chung went to Japan to study. 12 years later, he opened his Japanese restaurant in Hong Kong.
I remember in 2002, 90% of our customers were Japanese. These were senior executive expatriates of Japanese firms. During the peak in 2002, there were many big Japanese companies in Hong Kong. At that time, mainland China just opened up. They all wanted to develop their business in China's expansive market. They set up companies in Hong Kong as springboards. Come to Hong Kong first and then penetrate China's market.
Chung says in 2002, there were only about 10 Japanese restaurants in Tsim Sha Tsui. Now there are around 300.
A growth of 30 times from before. We are more than Cha Chan Tang. Look at this street. There are 2 Cha Chan Tangs, but 4 Japanese restaurants. Hong Kong people are well adapted in terms of Japanese culture. There were fewer Japanese customers. There are now 1/3 of the Japanese in Hong Kong than before. Now we depend on the Hong Kong customers who love Japanese food.
One academic says the mass popularity of Japanese goods is the result of Japanese companies' ability to adapt to the local market.
For example, Yoshinoya beef bowl place. In Japan, it's basically male thing. And people who are what we call salaryman, business people, would go there for quick lunch or a quick meal. Girls usually stay out. But in Hong Kong, Yoshinoya basically presents themselves as a place that they serve Japanese food. And the decoration is more for family members. And high school girls do not have the reservation of going into these restaurants, partly because the image is localized.
While many Japanese companies have enjoyed success investing in Hong Kong, Hong Kongers have also been interested in investing in Japan over the years. On this day, Amos Lee is giving a seminar on buying properties for long-term visa holders in Japan. Originally, there was only one seminar, but it was overbooked.
We decided to open up another session, which is 12 noon earlier. And then it went on again, and then it's full again. So we have to open up another 4:30 session today.
Amos is a veteran in overseas property investment. He entered the Japan market in 2014.
From 2014 all the way to 2020, before the COVID, I think that there's a big increase of the Japanese property sales.
Amos says Japanese homes have always been consistently popular among investors. Despite Thailand and Singapore being #1 at different times, Japan has always been #2 in terms of the number of transactions his company has processed.
The lack of stocks is one of the crucial part. That's why Japan property couldn't be #1, or it wouldn't drop because there will always be fans. In terms of projects and development over the last few years, we have sold more than 20 over projects. They are sold overseas, in Hong Kong, in Singapore, in mainland China. So I think our buyers, if we just talk about Hong Kongers, we are talking about 60–70%. Majority of the buyers are from Hong Kong. I suppose it's because the kind of love affectionate relationship that we have for Hong Kongers to treat Japan as one of the what we call the back to their hometown, going back to Japan.
Mr. Lian is a potential Japanese home buyer. He used to travel to Japan 4 times a year before COVID.
Buying a house is good. I just think if I have a house in Japan, I can live there for a longer time, the whole month or half a month. Not like traveling, I can only stay fixed 10 or 20 days. For investment, it depends on the rates of return. Need to see the entry price. It's also a good choice if it's purely for holiday.
Another potential buyer, Mr. Tan, has studied Japanese for 20 years. He's here to learn about long-term stay in Japan.
They would feel very happy if we can speak a little bit of Japanese. Japan is an Asian country. We all have Asian faces, not like the UK or the US where we may face discrimination.
Amos says the Japanese yen has become cheap and favorable for foreigners to invest.
I think #1, the yen has depreciated more than 30–30% since yen depreciated that much. Plus, you get to see that Japan is actually opening up now. I think once they open up to everybody, everyone, will rush in. I think I would rush in myself because I will go with my empty luggage to shop.
In the evening of May 26, we heard the Japanese government issued an announcement to include Hong Kong in the blue zone. Travelers from the blue zone can enter Japan without getting jabs. The next day on 27th, over 100,000 people visited our website. We received more than 1,000 groups of customer inquiries within the first 10 days.
Japan has always been one of the most visited destinations among Hong Kong travelers. In fact, in 2018, 3 Japanese travel guidebooks were among the most borrowed non-fiction books from public libraries here. By late June, 30 people in 3 tour groups were confirmed to travel with Mr. Hun's agency. That's still a far cry from the 1,000 daily tourists before the pandemic. Steve Hun says they plan to launch the first Japan tour group on June 15th, but there wasn't enough time to prepare the visas.
There's a wide range in our client ages, including age 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and even 70. It's very balanced. Almost half male, half female. Quite a few of them joined the 2 groups alone. The tour fee is $16,000. It has increased by 25% or so, as now the cost is higher due to less people in the tour group. Also, the price increased by $4,000 because we still need to pay our employees' salary when they are in isolation. Before the pandemic, take the example of June and July, the summer holiday. If we travel to the same place like Hokkaido, and also for 7 days, it costs $12,000. Today it's $16,000. Not a huge price, thanks to a cheaper yen.
I'm very proud of being here, sharing this time with you all. Now, back in 2019, there were 2.2 million people who visited Japan from Hong Kong.
Today, the first group of tourists to Japan since COVID gather at the airport at 7 in the morning.
Thank you very much for flying on me.
一睇到個廣告就報團，一年都去10幾次以前。通關嘅時候本身都唔係話特別想去嘅，咁因為都知道有好多限制，後尾都了解過，覺得可以試下咯，係啦。因為處理嗰個 visa 都係第一次嘅，咁所以就要多啲時間去睇下有啲咩 document 需要咁樣啦。
After a 4-hour flight, they arrive in Japan. Lei says he has been preparing 400,000 Japanese yen, or 23,000 Hong Kong dollars, for this tour, mainly for food and souvenirs. He says he's missed the food the most, and now he can finally have the whole experience on Japanese soil. When we come back, tracing the Japanese connection in different generations. Stay with us. Welcome back to Pearl Magazine. People in Hong Kong have been exposed to Japanese culture since the 1960s, with the 1980s being the peak period. Why the love affair with Japan? Gabby Hsu met with some experts and different generations of Japanese fans. Jenny Lam is teaching Japanese this morning at the Japan Society of Hong Kong. She's been teaching the language since 1995.
When it comes to students' ages, they used to be more middle-aged. Now we have younger students who are influenced by Japanese culture in the 1980s and the 1990s.
Angela Chan has been studying Japanese for about 6 months.
I always go to Japan and I want to learn more about Japanese culture. And the best way to learn its culture is to learn its language first, so I decided to come here to learn Japanese.
I love Japanese culture like manga. I want to learn Japanese to read manga and for travel.
Language and culture are inextricably linked.
At this moment, more than 20,000 or close to 30,000 Hong Kong people from different ages who are learning Japanese out of different motivations. As you know, right now we have so many restaurants in Hong Kong. So if they know some Japanese, the chances of being employed is higher.
Rita Takahashi says there are over 100 private Japanese language schools in Hong Kong. The first ones can be traced back to the 1960s.
During the early 1960s, when I was a primary school student, when I was walking down the street in Nathan Road, there was only 1 or 2 signboards written on Japanese language school, private language school on the street.
It was also in the 1960s when economic ties between Hong Kong and Japan began to flourish. It was when the first Japanese department store, Daimaru, opened on Patterson Street in Causeway Bay. By the 1980s, more Japanese retail stores arrived and set up shop in Hong Kong. This was the start of the Japanese pop culture craze in Hong Kong.
Right now, they have become almost 40 years old. Therefore, you know, that kind of generation is one of the main pillars for promoting the Japanese culture in Hong Kong.
Long and mass exposure of Japanese products since the 1960s, and then popular culture since the 1970s. Basically, Hong Kong is a free port where information flows freely.
Meanwhile, on mainland China, Korea, Taiwan, many Japanese cultural products were banned until the 1980s because of World War II.
I think what's unique about Hong Kong is it's not that Hong Kong people have forgotten about the war, but since they have had such exposure to like different types of Japanese culture and different facets of Japanese things Japanese, they have seen like different sides of Japan, And so altogether, their image is more diverse.
Professor Nakano says that's why people in Hong Kong, a British colony at the time, had a head start in being exposed to the culture and products of its neighbors.
1984 was the year that when Sino-British Joint Declaration was signed. And then 1997, there was Hong Kong handover. When there are major political changes, I think the Japanese boom, like things Japanese tend to become very popular in this city. I think it's partly because it's not Britain, it's not China, but something that is very familiar, but something in between.
39-year-old Jarvis Chow is a big Japanese fan born in the 1980s. He started learning Japanese when he was 14. He is now a tourism icon. Aside from hosting several travel shows on TV, as an expert on Japan, he shares information, especially about Japanese food, on his social media platforms and in various magazines.
I born in the 80s, and the 70s, 80s, and 90s, they are deeply influenced by the Japanese culture, the TV, idol, animes, subculture. So these people are the major consumers of the tourist industry nowadays because we grow up and then we can earn a living and we can spend our money to travel. And Japan is a place which we were fond of since we were a kid.
Jarvis's first trip to Japan was 25 years ago with his family. He uses this app now to trace how many places he has visited there.
I guess like 60 to 70 times, maybe. But sometimes I will stay in Japan for like 1 to 2 months for shooting. So I remember there was a year that I stayed in Japan for almost half of a year, cumulative. Staying in Japan for shooting, for work, for sightseeing for myself.
These are souvenirs he's brought back from Japan over the years. He likes visiting different Japanese shrines and buys a charm every time he visits one.
And actually it's not like I buy one, but I ask for one because this is a part of the god is living inside this pocket, this little pocket, like to protect you from accidents or protect you from bad things.
He got this walking stick when he first went to Mount Fuji.
I think this records my first trip to Mount Fuji. So it's very memorable. Yeah. And you can see this is the history and the experience of climbing Mount Fuji, staying in this part.
So that's why you want to bring it back to
home. Yeah, and to my quarantine hotel for 14 days.
Jarvis often gets a flurry of inquiries about traveling to Japan.
Actually, it died down a little bit because of the pandemic, but recently, Japan welcomes tourists again, right? So I got more inquiries these days.
30 years younger, 6-year-old Charmaine is a huge fan of Japanese cartoon characters.
I love Japan, Google Infinity %.
Charmaine's art tutor says her drawings are influenced by Japanese cartoon characters. Charmaine goes to an international school in Shatin. Her mother says Charmaine often picks up Japanese culture from her schoolmates, especially her Japanese friends Harumi and Sophie. Charmaine told her mother she wants to learn Japanese properly so that she can understand what Harumi and Sophie gossip about with each other.
Every time in the toilet. Every time in the toilet they see.
On the baseball field, Harumi's father is teaching baseball. One of the 2 baseball squads here, the JBC, is voluntarily coached by Japanese fathers. Mr. Chan's son is on the JBC team. His son became interested in baseball after watching Japanese animes.
The coaches for the Japanese team are Japanese fathers working in Hong Kong. They and their kids want to play baseball, so the majority of the JBC team is Japanese. But there are more Hong Kongers now. More Hong Kong people are familiar with this sport now, and many Japanese have left.
Unlike Harumi's brother and father, the two little girls aren't very interested in baseball. Instead, their passion is cute Japanese cartoon characters.
Tokage, Shirokuma, penguin, neko, tonkatsu. This one is tonkatsu. Is they eating pork and then people left it.
Despite students of other nationalities in her class, Charmaine is only interested in Japanese culture because she and Harumi share a common interest in Japanese stationery, songs, and cartoons. Sophie returned to Japan for the summer holidays this year.
She really likes Sophie. She really likes Sophie. She says she cried when she get back home.
Oh, she did.
And I did.
She did.
I did too.
Okay.
Arigato.
Charmaine says Harumi and Sophie teach her Japanese, and more importantly, they introduce Japanese characters to her.
How much longer do you think you will like something that's Hawaiian?
Forever until I die, still like it. No. 7 years later.
You will like it?
No. I'll hate it 7 years later.
You will like it?
No. I like it for infinity, thousands, and thousand, infinity, Google, infinity, thousands, and thousand years. Until I die, I still like it.
That's Pearl Magazine for this week. Join us again, same time next week. Bye for now.